रेनफॉल 19 को शुरू होगा, विंड स्पीड भी 19 को शुरू होगा 55 to 65 किलोमीटर पर आवर, और धीरे धीरे बढ़ के जब साइक्लोन वेस्ट बंगाल और बांग्लादेश तट को पार करेगा दीघा और हतिया आइलैंड के बीच, तब सबसे ज्यादा विंड स्पीड 165 किलोमीटर पर आवर से 175 किलोमीटर पर आवर, और गस्टीनेस में ओकेजनली विंड स्पीड कैन गो अप टू 195 किलोमीटर पर आवर। और इसका इम्पैक्ट इससे पहले उड़ीसा में शुरू हो जाएगा। उड़ीसा भी हिट होगा, मगर डायरेक्ट हिट नहीं होगा, क्योंकि इसका जो ट्रैक है उड़ीसा कोस्ट की पैरेलल जा रहे हैं, डायरेक्ट हिट नहीं हो रहा है। मगर जो साइक्लोन का जो कोर विंड स्पीड है वो नॉर्थ कोस्टल उड़ीसा के ऊपर ज्यादा रहेगा। आज रात से कोस्टल उड़ीसा के पास जो समुद्र है, तट एरिया है, उसमें विंड स्पीड बढ़ेगा और धीरे धीरे बढ़ के ये 110 to 120, गस्टनेस में 130 kmph हो सकता है नॉर्थ कोस्टल उड़ीसा डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स। सो जब साइक्लोन आता है 3 तरीका का डैमेजिंग वेदर होता है। जैसे हमने बताया सबसे डैमेजिंग वेदर हो गया कि आपका टाइडल वेव, जिसमें सलाइन वाटर आता है, और ये सलाइन वाटर से क्या होता है कि जो हमारा सॉयल है वो सलाइन हो जाता है, जो स्टैंडिंग क्रॉप है वो सब डैमेज हो जाता है, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर भी अफेक्टेड होता है। और ये सलाइन वाटर जो टाइडल वेव वो ऑल ऑफ ए सडन आता है। सो पहले आप नहीं गए होंगे, तो जब साइक्लोन का विंड शुरू हो गया तब स्टॉर्म सर्ज आ रहे हैं और टाइडल वेव आ रहे हैं, तब आप नहीं जा पाएंगे। इसलिए हमारा विनम्र निवेदन है लोगों को, सरकार की तरफ से भी ये पदक्षेप लिया जा रहा है कि आप तुरंत सरकार के आदेश के अनुसार सेफ शेल्टर या सेफ प्लेस को चले जाना चाहिए, और कोई गुजब में विश्वास मत करिए। और मैं एक बात बोल के रखूं, साइक्लोन एक मल्टी हैजार्ड है। इसमें एक ही साथ आपको हेवी रेनफॉल मिलता है, स्ट्रॉन्ग विंड मिलता है, और इसके साथ भी आपको टाइडल वेव मिलता है। सो तीनों मिलने के साथ ये मल्टी हैजार्ड सिनेरियो हो जाता है। विंड से स्ट्रक्चरल डैमेज होता है, टाइडल वेव से इनंडेशन होता है, सलाइन इनंडेशन, और हेवी रेन से भी लो लाइंग एरिया में इनंडेशन हो जाता है और सॉइल लूज हो जाता है। इसलिए जो थेचेड हाउसेस है, कच्चा घर है, वो सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान होता है। मैं और एक क्वेश्चन देख रहा हूं कि ऑल ट्रॉपिकल साइक्लोन्स आर इक्वली डेंजरस। नहीं, सभी ट्रॉपिकल साइक्लोन्स इक्वली डेंजरस नहीं होते हैं। इसका एसोसिएटेड विंड के हिसाब से और इसका डैमेजिंग पोटेंशियल के हिसाब से साइक्लोन्स को डिफरेंट कैटेगरी में डिवाइड किया गया है। इंडिया में हम साइक्लोन को साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म, सीवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म, वेरी सीवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म, एक्सट्रीमली सीवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म और सुपर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म के हिसाब से कैटेगराइज करते हैं। जब कोई साइक्लोन का विंड स्पीड लगभग 60 किलोमीटर से 90 किलोमीटर, 60 to 90 किलोमीटर पर आवर के अंदर होता है, इसको साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म बोला जाता है। जब इसका विंड स्पीड 90 to 120 किलोमीटर के अंदर होता है, इसको सीवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म बोला जाता है। जब 120 to 160 किलोमीटर के अंदर होता है, इसको वेरी सीवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म बोलते हैं। जब 160 से 220 किलोमीटर तक होता है, इसको एक्सट्रीमली सीवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म बोलते हैं। जब 220 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा हो जाता है, इसको सुपर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म बोलते हैं। जैसे अम्पन एक सुपर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म है, अभी इसका विंड स्पीड 220 से 230 किलोमीटर है, मगर जब कोस्ट को पार करेगा तो अभी एक्सट्रीमली सीवियर स्टॉर्म रहेगा, जबकि विंड स्पीड अप टू 195 किलोमीटर तक रहेगा। सो अकॉर्डिंगली आप देखेंगे कि ये जो डैमेज एक्सट्रीमली सीवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म पे या वेरी सीवियर साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म पे लार्ज स्केल होता है, लार्ज स्केल एक्सटेंसिव डैमेज होता है। इसीलिए इवैक्यूएशन जरूरत होता है जो एरिया में साइक्लोन जाता है। सो मैं और एक क्वेश्चन देख रहा हूं कि व्हिच आर द लार्जेस्ट एंड स्मॉलेस्ट ट्रॉपिकल साइक्लोन्स ऑन रिकॉर्ड। मैं जो स्टडी किया हूं, जो हमारा जो रिकॉर्ड है 1891 से हम रिकॉर्ड मेंटेन किए हैं इंडिया में, ये नॉर्थ इंडियन ओशन के लिए। सो फार ओडिशा सुपर साइक्लोन 1999 which crossed Odisha coast near Paradip on 29 October 1999 is considered as the most intense and largest tropical cyclone in this area. The smallest cyclone which I have come across is the cyclone Agni. It developed during 28th to 30th October 2006. It was a very short-lived cyclone. It crossed near Tamil Nadu and adjoining Andhra coast. And it was a so small scale cyclone that it could not be picked up by the satellite. Only because of our Doppler weather radar in Chennai and Karaikal, we could pick up this tropical cyclone Agni at that time. So I will consider the tropical cyclone Agni in 2006, which developed over Bay of Bengal and crossed near about Chennai and Nellore, is the smallest cyclone, and Odisha super cyclone of 1999 as the largest cyclone. मैं और एक क्वेश्चन देख रहा हूं, why are there fewer cyclones over Arabian Sea as compared to the Bay of Bengal? I just want to inform you that cyclone genesis depends upon various parameters. It depends on some parameters which are dependent upon the sea conditions, because cyclone develops over the sea mainly, and some atmospheric conditions. Mainly there are 6 conditions. One of the most important condition is the sea surface temperature or ocean thermal energy or ocean heat content. So आप बे ऑफ बंगाल और अरेबियन सी को कंपेयर करें तो बे ऑफ बंगाल में हीट कंटेंट ज़्यादा होते हैं और अरेबियन सी में हीट कंटेंट, स्पेशली वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ अरेबियन सी में हीट कंटेंट कम होते हैं। दूसरा रीजन है कि जो साइक्लोन हमारे एरिया में डेवलप होता है, यूजुअली मेनी ऑफ देम वो नॉर्थ वेस्ट पैसिफिक ओशन यानी साउथ चाइना सी से बे ऑफ बंगाल की तरफ आता है, और वो जो रेमनेंट्स आता है बे ऑफ बंगाल को जब आता है यहाँ वार्म सी मिलता है और वहाँ इंटेंस होते हैं और फिर साइक्लोन हो जाता है। मगर बे ऑफ बंगाल को जो साइक्लोन डेवलप होता है वो जाकर अरेबियन सी में इंटेंसिफिकेशन नहीं हो पाता है, क्योंकि उनको पेनिनसुलर इंडिया की क्रॉस करके जाना पड़ता है। तो इसीलिए ये रीजन के लिए भी बे ऑफ बंगाल में ज्यादा साइक्लोन होता है और अरेबियन सी में कम साइक्लोन होता है। मैं और एक क्वेश्चन देख रहा हूँ कलाम मलिक साहब कि व्हाट विल बी द इंटेंसिटी एट द टाइम ऑफ लैंडफॉल। लैंडफॉल टाइम हम इंटेंसिटी बोल रहे हैं कि एक्सट्रीमली सीवियर साइक्लोन स्टॉर्म, उनका लार्ज स्केल डैमेजिंग इम्पैक्ट रहेगा वेस्ट बंगाल में और एडजॉइनिंग बांग्लादेश एरिया में, और इसके साथ ऑल्सो सम डैमेजिंग इम्पैक्ट रहेगा नॉर्थ कोस्टल ओडिशा डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में। और इसका विंड स्पीड होगा 165 to 175 kmph, गस्टिंग टू 195 kmph। इसका इंटेंसिटी साथ और एक बड़ा बात यह है कि इसके साथ जो एसोसिएटेड स्टॉर्म सर्ज है, टाइडल वेव है, वो 4 to 6 मीटर से आप इमेजिन कर पाएंगे। कोई एक जो वॉल है हमारा, ये रफली 3 मीटर्स होता है। जब हम 4 to 6 मीटर्स का स्टॉर्म सर्ज बोल रहे हैं, टाइडल वेव बोल रहे हैं, दैट मीन्स एक 2 स्टोरीड बिल्डिंग का हाइट जैसा होता है, ऐसे ही सैलाइन वाटर लो लाइन एरिया को आएगा। सो इसीलिए 1 स्टोरीड और 2 स्टोरीड जो बिल्डिंग हुए कोस्टल एरिया में वो सेफ नहीं है। और इससे आप अंदाज लगा सकते हैं कि जो व्हाटएवर कच्चा हाउसेस होता है that can be extensively damaged. See, in addition to that, this can cause also wide-scale damage to structures. इसलिए बहुत इंटेंस साइक्लोन है। मैं और एक क्वेश्चन देख रहा हूँ, प्लीज से एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन ऑफ द लैंडफॉल। हम बोल रहे हैं कि ये लैंडफॉल 20 तारीख को, आई एम टेलिंग दैट द लैंडफॉल विल हैपन on 20th afternoon or evening or afternoon to evening between Digha in West Bengal and Hatia Island in Bangladesh. And if you look at the most probable track, it is passing through the Sundarbans. So therefore, if you are interested to know theoretically where actually the eye will pass, this is the Sundarbans. But considering the size of a tropical cyclone, it is about 700 kilometers in this case, and considering the diameter of the central dense overcast cloud mass, which is the damaging cloud mass, which causes heavy rainfall, and that area is associated with the strongest winds, that is about 120 kilometers radius. So therefore, if it crosses there near Sundarban, it can have the impact over entire West Bengal districts and also over adjoining Bangladesh districts. Not only that, when it goes inland also, since it is passing through riverine areas, deltaic areas, it will have certain intensity up to Kolkata, Hooghly, Howrah districts. There also it will have strong wind speeds. Okay, I am finding another question. Will it have the same effect on Odisha as cyclone Fani did last year? No. Fani hit Odisha near Puri directly. And at that time, maximum wind was 170 to 180. In gustiness, it was 205 kilometers per hour. But in this case, the cyclone is not directly hitting Odisha. It is going parallel to Odisha coast and hitting West Bengal coast. So you can take a comparison. This cyclone is expected to follow the track like cyclone Bulbul in November 2019. So if you remember Bulbul, it came close to Odisha coast and it caused damaging impact over north coastal districts. Only difference is that this cyclone Amphan is stronger. Its wind speed is higher than the cyclone Bulbul. Therefore, we are giving little higher wind over Odisha compared to Bulbul cyclone what we gave. In case of Bulbul, we gave wind speed of 200 kilometers per hour for north coastal districts. In this case, we are giving up to 135 kilometers per hour with gustiness. So from Kerala, will super cyclone Amphan has some effects as that of Odisha super cyclone? No. In case of Odisha super cyclone, it was having the wind speed of 260 to 280 kmph. It was stationary for about 30 hours near Paradip, Bhubaneswar and Cuttack. So therefore, it has the catastrophic damage. But in this case, we do not expect the cyclone to be stationary while causing the hit or while hitting the coast. It will move fast. And also, it is moving in a summer season as compared to Odisha super cyclone, which occurred in the post-monsoon season. Lot of moisture over the land. Soil was wet. In this case, soil was dry. So therefore, intensity of the cyclone is quite less compared to Odisha super cyclone. At the time of landfall also, it will be less further. But still, it has got the extensive damaging capacity because it will be extremely severe cyclones. Another question I am finding. So now it seems that question I just missed. Okay, which district of West Bengal will be worst affected by the cyclone? This is South and North 24 Pargana district will be worst affected, followed by West and East Midnapur district. And also we will have the effect on Hooghly, Howrah and Kolkata districts. Then there is another question. Sandeep, sorry, there are many questions, therefore I am not able to. So now it seems that it might affect the surge of monsoon 2020. Yeah, it has actually favored the monsoon over Nicobar Islands, but it will have some adverse impact about the monsoon onset over Kerala coast. So therefore, we have told our monsoon onset will be slightly delayed. Against the normal date of 1st June, we are expecting monsoon over Kerala on 5th June. Then please explain about the 6 parameters of the cyclogenesis. I was telling there are 6 parameters. 3 are dynamical parameters and 3 are thermodynamical parameters. I will tell you. ocean thermal energy and sea surface temperature is the most important. If temperature is more than 26 degrees Celsius, it becomes favorable for cyclogenesis. If it is more, it becomes more favorable. The next one is that for cyclone development, you need some kind of instability in atmosphere that is that should be there to help the atmosphere to go off. So moist air should go off. You know, the moist air is lighter than dry air, so it goes up. But if it's unstable, it goes more rapidly. And if there is warm sea surface temperature, then evaporation takes place, vaporization takes place quickly. So all this helps. The third one is that you should have higher relative humidity in middle tropospheric level, unlike the thunderstorms. In case of thunderstorms, we have the dry atmosphere in the middle troposphere. But in case of cyclone, you should have the moist atmosphere, at least relative humidity more than 60%. That helps to enhance the convective activity. Deep convective cloud can form, and hence it will lead to formation of tropical cyclones. Now, considering dynamical parameters, one of the important parameters is that the Coriolis force. Earth is rotating around its own axis. So because of this rotation, there is a force which is called as the Coriolis force. It is an apparent force which deflects the wind to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. So this Coriolis force helps to form the cyclones. But thing is that for formation of cyclone, you need the minimum Coriolis force. And that minimum Coriolis force is usually available to the north of 5 degrees north. So therefore, usually cyclone develops to north of 5 degrees north. Very rarely develops to the south of 5 degrees north and the equator. The next point is that you should have high rotating power of the atmosphere in the place. This is measured by a parameter called as vorticity. If in the lower troposphere, the atmosphere is able to rotate quickly, just like a top. In childhood, we play with the top, no? It rotates on its one axis. Therefore, if atmosphere can rotate like this, it leads to the development of convective clouds, and hence it helps the formation of the cyclones. The third one is that there should be low vertical wind shear. I will explain you wind shear. When you are traveling in a windy day, if you have got good hair, you will find that your hair is getting distorted. Even if you have put off so much of coconut oil, you will find that your hair is getting distorted if there is a strong wind. So similarly, if you are carrying an umbrella, if there is strong wind, umbrella cannot stand straight. It gets diverted in the direction of wind. Similarly, in the atmosphere, if you have got a strong wind in the upper level and lower level in the comparison, then you will find that the cloud mass which is developing, that will be distorted to any direction of the winds. So this is called a shearing of the clouds. So once the cloud shears, it cannot remain straight. So its process of development gets distorted. And hence this process is not favorable for development of the cyclones. So for cyclone development, you should have low vertical wind shear. Consider the case of cyclone Amphan, which has become now super cyclone. It happened because of this low vertical wind shear, because of the higher sea surface temperature and higher ocean heat and ocean thermal energy, and all other favorable factors are there for intensification. Okay, so now I am finding another question. Is it the second super cyclone after Paradip cyclone? Yes, it is the second super cyclone over Bay of Bengal, not over Andaman, not over entire North Indian Ocean. If you consider entire North Indian Ocean, after Odisha super cyclone, we have got 2-3 super cyclones over Arabian Sea. But over Bay of Bengal, this is the second super cyclone. So I am finding another question. Naming a super cyclone is based on intensity. Yes, if the wind speed exceeds 220 kilometers per hour, it is called as a super cyclonic storm. So can it produce flood-like situation in West Bengal? I'll tell you, the flood depends on many factors. Since it is a dry season, summer season, most of the rivers are having very less water. Soil is also dry. The possibility of causing floods is not expected. But in certain urban areas like Kolkata or certain cities where you have got dense population, where drainage facility is not sufficient to drain out the water, you may have some kind of temporary inundation in low-lying areas. Sir, will it landfall at Sundarbans? Yes, we are telling that it will cross between Digha and Hatia, Digha of West Bengal and Hatia of Bangladesh, and near the Sundarbans. Chinmay Malik, sir, Odisha's which districts are most affected? We are expecting the north coastal districts, especially Balasore, Bhadrak, Kendrapada, and Jagatsinghpur to be affected. Balasore and Bhadrak would be nearer to the landfall point, and hence you can expect more compared to Kendrapada and Jagatsinghpur. So there is another question, why cyclones become more frequent in recent years? It is not true. Cyclones are not frequent in recent years. If you consider the data of more than 100 years, we find that frequency of cyclones has decreased over the Bay of Bengal. However, over the Arabian Sea, the frequency of the intense cyclones has increased. So there is another question, where will the cyclone move after landfall? So after landfall, it will move, or it will continue to move north-northeastwards across Ganges to West Bengal and will enter into Bangladesh. Then it will gradually weaken. It will become a depression over West Assam or over North Bangladesh. There is another question. Can you please explain the term MJO? MJO stands for Madden-Julian Oscillation. In 1971 and 72, two scientists, Madden and Julian, came together and they found that near the equator, the convective clouds are showing some kind of oscillations. And there is some kind of periodicity in this oscillation, and it is traveling around the globe with a periodicity of about 30 to 60 days. So after that, people went and investigating, and they found that it is not simply the convective clouds. There are many other parameters like winds and outgoing long wave radiations, etc., which also show this type of periodic oscillations. Now, these Madden-Julian oscillations, it is a west to east propagating oscillation near the equator, and this oscillation leads to sometimes strengthening of wind, sometimes weakening of wind, and hence strengthening of a convective cloud, sometimes weakening of convective clouds. So when this oscillation passes through Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea or adjoining Pacific Ocean, here convective clouds develops, which helps in formation of cyclones. Study shows the 60% of cyclogenesis is associated with favorable Madden-Julian oscillations. There is another question, sir. Tell about Kelvin wave. I missed the question. Okay, sir, what effect on Kolkata? Yes, if you look at our forecast, it is the landfall is over South and North 24 Pargana, and it is passing very close to Kolkata. Therefore, Kolkata will be affected by these tropical cyclones, and our prediction is that over Kolkata we will have rainfall and heavy rainfall, and also wind speed will be 110 to 120 kilometers per hour, gusting to 135 kilometers per hour. So there can be uprooting of trees, there can be bending and uprooting of electric poles and telephone lines also in Kolkata. There can be damage to slums, there can be damage to thatched houses and old structures also. So especially since it is a city, there will be many hoardings also. We should take care of hoardings. These hoardings will go as a projectile, and it helps the taxi, cars, etc. And also it helps the people also. Indirect damage also is caused because of all these projectiles. Okay, so when the super cyclone hit Paradip, was it extremely severe like Amphan? It was more severe than Amphan when it was crossing Paradip. It was a super cyclone, and it was the most intense cyclone in the history of cyclones over North Indian Ocean. What about Puri district? So in Puri district, we have the wind speed predicted as 55 to 65, gusting to 75 kmph. This is the squally wind. We do not expect much damage because of these winds. You can have some kind of breaking of tree branches sometimes, and small trees may be affected. We don't expect any major damage because of these winds. There is another question, sir, Bangladesh effect. Yes, Bangladesh also will be worst affected, especially the area which we are telling off to Hatia, there will be impact of the cyclones. for Bangladesh also, we are predicting very extremely severe impact because of this particular cyclone. There will be extremely heavy rainfall also over Bangladesh. It is extending 20 centimeter on 28th, and it may start on 19th in coastal areas. It will proceed towards northern parts. Also, we are expecting storm surge of about 4 to 6 meters height in the adjoining areas of Bangladesh, because that is also a low-lying area. We can expect 4 to 6 meter height of the storm surge or tidal wave above the astronomical tide. In addition, wind speed also will be, whatever wind speed we are predicting for West Bengal districts, that will be there in Bangladesh districts. So we will have the wind speed of 165 to 175, gusting to 185, gusting to 195 kmph, adjoining districts of Bangladesh. So then I am finding another question. I still cannot understand how 19 Odisha supercyclone remains stationary. So there are many factors which determine the movement of the cyclones. At that time, this cyclone was sandwiched between two anticyclones. So when that type of situation occurs, that area is called as COL, C-O-L, where wind will be very light and variable. And these winds actually steer the cyclone. Since wind was very light and variable in the atmosphere because of the two anticyclones lying on two sides of the Odisha supercyclone, so this particular Odisha supercyclone remained almost stationary between Paradeep, Cuttack, and Bhubaneswar and caused devastation. Okay, why there are more cyclones in Bay of Bengal? I have replied already. Then, effect of Kelvin wave in cyclogenesis. Yes, Kelvin wave is also very important. If you consider this, it's a very technical question. It will not be applicable to everybody. So Kelvin wave is also very important. Kelvin wave is east-west propagating wave also. And we have got also a Rossby wave. So if you just consider these phenomena, all are linked with each other. In case of Amphan, we had the Rossby waves and Kelvin waves, and also MJO. All these phenomena favor this intense convective activity and hence rapid intensification during past 24 hours, leading to the supercyclone. So is there an effect on Gopalpur coast? In Gopalpur also, that is Ganjam district, we are expecting wind speed of about 45 to 55. In gustiness, it can go up to 65 kmph. So it will not have any much damaging impact on that. But the entire sea over North Bay of Bengal, starting from Odisha coast to West Bengal and Bangladesh coast, will be very rough, high and phenomenal sea. Therefore, the fishermen should not venture into the sea. Those who are, they should immediately return to the coast. Okay, sir, what is the, sir, how are the speed, sir, how are the speed and path of cyclone predicted? So the speed and path of cyclone is predicted based on a standard operating procedure. As I told you, the tropical cyclone is just like a cork in the ocean. If you just throw a cork in the ocean, that cork will move as per the ocean current. Like this, in this atmosphere, if a cyclone develops, the cyclone will move as per the atmospheric current. And what is that atmospheric current? The atmospheric current is the mean wind structure in which cyclone is embedded. So whatever is the mean wind and direction of the atmosphere in which cyclone is embedded, that cyclone will move in that speed and in that direction. So to carry out that, we employ various types of numerical weather prediction models. We utilize all the latest tools and technologies to collect various observations like buoys, ships, radars, satellites, spectrometers. All these observations